Welcome to Muslim Network TV. We have with us Professor Tarunjit Singh Butalia, and we are talking with him. We'll be talking with him about the uh, assassination of a Sikh leader in Canada and the stand Canada has taken by accusing India of involvement in the assassination. Professor Tarunjit Butalia is a founding trustee of the Sikh Council on Interfaith Relations, an executive director of Religion for Peace USA. Welcome to Muslim Network TV, Tarunjit Singh Butalia.
Thank you, Imam Malik Mujahid, and Assalamu alaikum to you and to all your viewers.
Peace be with you. This came as a surprise that not only India is accused of assassination, but there were other assassinations before that. So you have recently written an article on Religion News. Could you share some insight that what is happening with this assassination which are going around?
A lot of the extrajudicial assassination of Sikhs that India would consider inconvenient or separatist began in the 1990s in Punjab, India, in which villages were mobbed of young Sikh men who were then killed in encounters and either thrown the bodies in canals or they were cremated as unclaimed bodies. This was documented by a human rights researcher by the name of Jaswant Singh Khalda. He went to all these different cremation grounds and he compiled a list in just 3 districts of Punjab in India, 2,500 unclaimed bodies that the police had burned at these cremations. What is now more difficult is what is happening abroad. The challenge we have is that several instances have happened. First of all, in 1985 in Canada, when an Air India flight was bombed, the blame for that was placed at the feet of the Sikh community. However, independent research done by Brian McAndrew and Kashmiri in their book 1989 Soft Target clearly shows in their assessment what they said was CSIS, which is a secret investigative agency in Canada, traced the killers to the doors or the gates of the embassy. But because of political interference, there was no action taken by the political authorities. This time, we are pleased that the Prime Minister of Canada has spoken publicly. So, in addition, recently there have been other incidents. I was just in Surrey this past weekend for an international Sikh research seminar that had already been planned. And what is quite interesting is that about a year ago, last year, another Sikh activist, Ripudaman Singh Malik, was also assassinated in the same city where this assassination happened. In addition, there recently has been another killing in a similar execution style of a Sikh activist in Lahore, Pakistan, as well as a very sudden death by poisoning of another Sikh activist in UK. So Sikh community had already been on the edge with all these, what previous Sikh community thought might be random killings. And there had always been concern in the Sikh community that the Indian government might be behind at its agencies. And so it remains to be seen if they are or not. But at this time, all these different incidents seem to have the look of extrajudicial murders.
So you mentioned in your article the person who compiled the list of about 2,500 extrajudicial killing, that human rights activist himself was found assassinated. Is that correct?
That is correct. After he released that list, he was arrested by the police and he was killed in police custody. His body never to be found. He reached the same fate of the people that he was investigating. So this impunity of getting away with extrajudicial murders has been very common in much of South Asia, including in Punjab, India. But what is surprising now is to know that these tentacles might be spreading to other countries. And imagine killing a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. That is how far it seems the matter may have gone, but time will tell what the truth is, and we will see the light of the day. And so the Sikh community is very, very nervous about, where else such reach might be. I do know that many Sikh leaders here in the US have been alerted by the FBI that they are also under threat. So this is something that many Sikhs in the West continue to be deeply, deeply concerned about. But at the bottom of it, this is an issue of respecting international law. You might remember, Malik Sahib, that in October of 1984, there was a Taiwanese, an American Taiwanese, who was killed by a Taiwanese gang. Guess what? Within 4 months, the Taiwanese government owned up to it and said, yes, this killing was linked to our intelligence agencies. And as a result, because Taiwan came up and they admitted what happened forthrightly, guardrails were put into place. In this case, India is denying it. In fact, India has gone on the offensive, saying that Canada is a safe haven for terrorists. So India's response in this case is very different. They are denying it. And although they have seen the evidence, the Canadian Prime Minister had made clear recently that some of the evidence was shared with the Indian authorities and the diplomats, and they never denied it. Yet India publicly says we have not seen the evidence. While Canada wants the rule of international law to be respected, I think India is playing geopolitical games on this matter.
So the FBI in the United States, which has contacted Sikh leaders, warning them that they are at risk. What are they saying? Who are the one who might attack? Are they mentioning that India, or they're not mentioning India, but just they're telling Sikh leaders, hey, you are at risk?
That is correct. The FBI does not tell where the threat comes from, and but does let them know that they have information which leads them to believe that their safety and life might be at risk without identifying where the risk might be coming from.
Now, Sikhs have been a target since 9/11 based on their look. Many people thought they are Muslims or something like that. And Sikhs have taken a stand and they organized, and instead of saying we are not Muslims, they took an honorable path of defending all the communities. In the wake of this assassination by India, what Sikh community is thinking they need to do? Because, RSS, which are killer of Gandhi, their member is the Prime Minister of India, Modi himself, is raised among those killers. And they have 60 plus branches here in the United States, according to their own claim. So is risk coming from the agents of the Indian government, or the risk coming from the RSS who are affiliated with the US government?
I think that could be coming from both places. Now, let me tell you why many of these folks find Sikhs to be inconvenient. The vast majority of Indians, particularly Hindus in India, mistakenly believe that the Sikh faith is a part of Hinduism. What this does is it denies a Sikh the independence of our religious tradition. And as a result, a Sikh who's willing to say, okay, the Sikh faith is part of Hinduism and would not keep the turban and the beard, is willing to be able to worship idols which are prohibited in the faith. Such a Sikh is called upon as the ideal Indian Sikh, okay? Is very acceptable in society. The larger society would want all Sikhs to become like that. However, those who choose to keep the articles of the faith, those who do not worship idols, those who don't take alcohol, they are considered undesirable. And those undesirable Sikhs then are referred to as fundamentalists, which then automatically gets connected from being a fundamentalist to a separatist to a terrorist, with little or no distinction between these categories of fundamentalist, separatist, and a terrorist. So I think the fundamental problem underlying this is Sikhs who believe that we have an independent world religion with all respect to all religious traditions, including the Hindu faith, but that we are not a part of the Hindu tradition, and that is what majority of people in India find to be problematic, and some even say is undesirable, anti-national. As you said, Imam Sahib, in the last, I would say about 10 years, the rise of right-wing Hindutva has made the situation even a lot more worse. The pressure on Sikhs to Hinduize themselves and return back to the Hindu fold. Now, like I said, not all Hindus are that way, but a vast majority of Hindus in India do believe that. And yes, there are some who are progressive, who understand the Sikh community and do work with us here in the US and in Canada and in India.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Tarunjit Butalia, for your time. Truly appreciate your explanations, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate being on the program today.
Stay tuned for other programs at Muslim Network TV.